This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Danny Manus is the CEO of No Bull Script Consulting. He's also an in-demand script consultant and author of the book No BS for Screenwriters, Advice from the Executive Perspective. Danny is here to help us maximize our creative potential, which sounds really good in the middle of July. Hello, Danny. Welcome.
Hey, Larry. Thank you for having me back. Pleasure to be back.
We are delighted. I still remember with fondness our visit last October when we were chatting with you, so we were looking forward to this visit. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Tell me, what does, let's set some background. What does No Bull Script Consulting do?
We are a full-service script consulting company. I say we, but it's really just me. Although we have launched a really new service that I'd love to tell you about because it's awesome. But we're a script consulting company. I'm a recovering development executive who worked at a number of production companies here in Hollywood. And now I work one-on-one with writers, producers, and reps on their projects, on their scripts, on their TV pilots, on their pitches to get them where they need to be and then hopefully, get them ready to be submitted and go forward and succeed.
Well, I want to talk about that for just a minute. I mean, you're a script consultant, but why would someone hire a script consultant?
Because there are, 65,000 scripts registered every year, plus probably another 25,000 that aren't registered every year. And there's just so many scripts out there, and executives and agents and managers and producers have to go through so much that the level of quality and concept, and there's so many submissions to concepts the last few years, that your script really has to be a lot better than good. Good is no longer good enough. And so, especially since I have the executive background as well as the writing background, it's great to get a professional opinion to make sure that your script is going to stand out in the good ways, not the bad ways, and stand up against a crowd of tens and tens of thousands of others. Yeah, and that's getting harder to do.
Danny, I was just thinking about this as I was putting my questions together for today. Scripts are reworked so much, even after they've been brought on board and they're getting ready to prep for production. What does a writer actually need to put into their script in the first place? Because they know it's going to get rewritten and then rewritten and then rewritten. It's like do you even need to have any words on a page at all? Why not just turn in a blank sheet of paper and say, imagine a script?
That would be nice, but I think that worked in the 80s and early 90s, but unfortunately not so much anymore. And again, the reason is just because, yes, it will be rewritten to death. They are going to bring other people on, other writers, directors, and everyone is going to have their notes. Chances are at the higher levels, it's going to be taken away from you and given to some writer who's going to be paid $1 million for 3 weeks worth of work. But to get to that point, you still need a great script, and you still need a great concept and have to know how to bring out what's special about that concept and your voice, especially if you want to submit to agents and managers and get representation. Your script is going to change 100 different ways, but you have to do the best job you can. And hopefully consulting, and there are a lot of us out there, some should be and some should not be, but we're there, basically I'm there as your personal development executive, basically, to make sure that it's getting where it needs to be and that your voice is shining and you're developing as a writer and to be the first line of defense, really, for executives and managers who you're going to be submitting to. And that's actually what led to the second reader service that we just launched. So that was kind of the impetus for that, actually.
You know, I'm listening to this conversation here. I'm just wondering, wait, who the heck wants to be a screenwriter when he knows that it's going to be rewritten and rewritten and rewritten, and he might have to have a consultant. And I mean, look, you got to let your ego go here. And if I was a writer and I have an ego, that's going to be a tough thing for me to do.
It is. It's definitely one of the hard things to get over. It's hard for me to get over.
Right.
And I've been in this business a dozen years, and I still, I write articles for, some websites and things like that. And sometimes I have editors come back and ask me a question. I'm like, what? And that's just, like one sentence in an article. So I get the frustration. It's and I do writing of my own, so I get the frustration. But if you can't be collaborative and you can't take notes and you can't rewrite, then honestly you don't have much of a career, in the future. So it's better to learn on your own, on your own time with your own kind of set of notes and people working with you who are on your side before you get thrown into the Sharknado waters and, or turn to chum. Why not, start that process early before you start submitting so that you're better equipped when it happens.
Get turned to chum before you submit your script as opposed to
How
after.
is it different being a screenwriter than, say, a novelist who dealing with an editor or a series of editors? I mean, we're dealing with a lot more people when we're screenwriters instead of... Okay.
Yes, you will be dealing with a lot more people as screenwriters normally than as book writers. It's a very different medium. I now have a bunch of book clients, especially as, books have been the biggest thing that Hollywood has gone after those last few years for adaptations. More book writers are trying to get into the adaptation business. And I speak at a lot of book conferences the last couple of years, and it is very different. It's a very different mindset going from book writing to film writing, but you're still going to have editors, you're still going to have publishers, you're still going to have people giving you notes. The difference is most of the time, your publisher is not going to take the book that you have written and then give it to a whole other writer to rewrite from page one.
Danny, you mentioned that there's a lot of different script consultants out there. For a writer that's looking to get help, I mean, clearly you're one of the good guys, but you can't handle everybody. How do they pick the right script consultant for their project and for themselves? What criteria should they use?
Everyone's got a website, and do your due diligence and look at people's real experience and what kind of angle they have coming to your script. There's a lot of people who, were readers or were assistants or are, other fellow screenwriters. And I think everyone has a valid opinion, but you want to look for me, the reason I started my company, was that there was not a whole lot of executive perspective out there. And that's who you're submitting to. You're not submitting, when your script's ready, you're not submitting it to other writers. You're submitting it to executives. And so that's why I started the company. But, you want to look for their bio and their experience and how long they've been doing this. And if they do this, as their full-time job, or if they're just doing this for an extra $150, a month. And you want to make sure that they have, great testimonials, that they've been around for a while. And then it's really just about a personality and whether you like the way that they work and whether you connect with them and find something about them. And sometimes it's trial and error, and that happens too. But it's really just about being smart and doing your due diligence and who you want to work with, who's going to help you get that script to the next level. And, of course, how much you want to spend, which is obviously a huge consideration. But yeah, for me, like I was saying, we just launched a new service where you can not only get notes from me, but you can also get notes from a working executive, producer, or manager. We've got about 10 awesome companies. A few of them are A-list companies, and they have agreed to read the script and give you notes, have a notes call with you like they would have with any other writer, go through your script and give you notes, which I think is invaluable because they are, like I said, the people you want to submit to. So why not get notes from me and from them?
I think
so we're really excited about it.
I think, yeah, I'd be excited about it too. If you got a great script and we upload that script to one of those A-list people that you talk about, what if they love it so much? Will they buy it?
Well, of course, that's the ultimate goal and hope and wish. But really, because you're not submitting to their company, which is, I've been kind of telling people that you're not submitting to their company, you're submitting to No Bull Script, that you're getting notes from someone who works at this company. And obviously the goal is if they like you and they like the script, you create a connection. They may not buy that script or it may not be what they're looking for, but you create a connection. Now you know someone that you can send your next script to, or they may like you. You're spending an hour plus on the phone with them. They may want to bring you in and meet with you. So, yeah, that is the hope. But, you're actually just paying for great notes, professional notes from people who are truly in the know because they are doing it every day.
Danny, we've got a live chat going, and Sarge on the live chat writes, why is there so little uplifting material to watch on TV? Why is everything so dystopic? Are there no positive scripts?
It's a good question. I mean, I will say faith-based movies the last couple of years have been a growing trend. I've done a little work, actually, in that world the last couple of years, and there is a market for it. I think there's still the happy Hollywood endings that you get in a number of movies. I mean, I think even, Trainwreck, which just came out, it's a romantic comedy. Yeah, it's a little darker, maybe a little bit more edgy, but it's still a kind of a happy story. And so I think there are happy stories. There are not, maybe just not the squeaky clean stories because, the market wants what the market wants. Hollywood does not make things in a vacuum, even though sometimes it feels that way. But hey, if you want a happy story, I heard there was a bidding war on an Emojis movie this past weekend. So my guess is half of that movie is going to be a lot of happy faces. So maybe that'll help.
Now, if you look at television, I mean, the shows that people are responding to and have responded to in the last few years are shows about self-destructive people. Whether it be the Ray Donovans or the Breaking Bads or the Hell on Wheels or these are all self-destructive people.
Yeah, the antihero has become the new hero, especially in television. And I think, people like TV because it does explore the darker side of our humanity over a longer period of time so we can, see a character change and how the whole world can be destroyed and put together over and over again. But yeah, it's just a reflection on society. So if you don't like it, it probably means there's something wrong in society and not so much something wrong with the television producers, because people tend to like that type of material. At the same time, there's a lot of reaffirming stuff out there like Transparent and, Frankie and Alice, and some other shows that I think are showing the upside of humanity and that kind of thing. So there is something for everyone out there. That's why TV is so popular these days, and it's why every producer out there is looking for television series right now. It's a good place to be because of the breadth of material out there that you can sell.
Danny, you've written or spoken recently about the whole idea of overcoming the summertime blues or a creative lethargy that hits during the summer. How do writers keep themselves moving forward? How do you keep yourself focused when you know you're going to get torn apart and turned into chum? What do you do?
I mean, the first thing you really have to do is you have to make sure that you're writing the right concept. And that is the number one issue I find with a lot of my writers is they're just not writing the right concept, whether it's the right concept for them, the right concept for where they are in their career, or the right concept that could actually be a movie. They're writing something that might be a book or might be a TV series or might be a diary entry and nothing at all. But they're not writing the right concept for their goals or for what type of writer they are. And so if you're focusing on the wrong types of ideas, you're just, you're rolling a ball up a hill that is just continuously going to fall back on you. And you won't be inspired because nothing is going to happen to it. You're going to spend 6 months on it, and it's just going to sit there. And so finding the right material is paramount to kind of keep going. Finding the right process, whether that's your outlining process or your inspiration process, finding the place where you like to write, the time you like to write, the way you like to write, a nice little writing mantra. I came up with one about 2 months ago that I'm trying to make a thing. I don't know if it's a thing yet, but I'm trying to make a thing, which is write your way out. If you're dealing with something in your life, you're not happy with your circumstances in life, and you want to be a screenwriter as a career, a writer as a career, or a book writer, you have to write your way out. And so I'm trying to make that a thing. I don't know. Maybe we'll spread it. But,
I like it.
Find the mantra or whatever inspires you. Maybe it's a movie. Maybe it's a TV show. Anytime I put on the first 4 seasons of West Wing, I automatically want to sit down and write something. And so find that thing and then find the process, the outlining process, whether it's note cards or, for me, I do a dry erase board, but whatever works for you. And that might be trial and error too. Combine that and see if your concept really can be fleshed out, and just find that time and circumstance where you can maximize your passion and maximize your creativity and maximize your time. And, some people say, try to write a little bit every day. And that's great advice, but not everybody can write a little bit every day. So write when you feel you have the maximized potential for, creativity and passion for what you're writing.
And then when you're getting ready to submit the work, what's the top 1 or 2 tips that you have for a successful submission?
When you're actually submitting, it depends on, if you're going for an agent or a manager or a producer. I guess I'm a little biased, but my first tip is get some professional feedback first and make sure it's actually ready, because most scripts are not. And next is, do the networking work. There are tons of ways to get your script out there, whether it's through online sources, whether it's through social media, whether it's through cold calling, whether it's through contests. Most of the contests, the really big ones had their deadlines usually in May, somewhere between April and June.
And Danny, for people that want your advice, what website can they go to?
They can absolutely go to www.nobullscript.net, nobullscript.net.
And Danny Manus is the CEO of No Bull Script. And Danny, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. And please follow me on Twitter. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye-bye.